You're watching the Bearcat Network. Today's Wednesday, November 12th, and this is Cat Chat. I'm Chris Sabato with my co-host Kip Ioane, bringing you all the news, events, and an inside look at Bearcat Athletics. Let's jump in the Roundup and see what happened this past weekend.
Absolutely. Let's start in the pool. Coach Leslie Shevlin and the men's and women's team was up in the Wits this weekend, Spokane and Walla Walla. While the team event sides didn't go the way the Bearcats wanted, Whitworth beat both the men and women, and Whitman also beat the men and women. There were some individual standout performances in the pool for the Bearcats. Freshman from San Jose, California on the men's side, Mark Uvinko won the 500 freestyle. And on the women's side, Cassie Tallman, a freshman from Seattle, Washington Roosevelt High School, won two individual events. She won the 200-yard individual medley and the 200-yard breaststroke on Saturday in Walla Walla. So she did a great job jumping in the pool. As one of her first meets as a freshman athlete. Great job to Cassie.
And that's a tough trip for any sport.
Oh man!
But Whitman and Whitworth are two powerhouses in swimming. So that makes it even.
Let's get them out of the way, and big things later to come in the season.
Yeah. In volleyball this weekend, the Bearcats had their senior night on Friday against Pacific Lutheran. Tough team to have your senior night against, but 3-0 loss. They played okay, but PLU's just they're
going to the tournament, aren't they?
They're pretty good. Yeah. Then they came back on Saturday at Pacific with a 3-0 win.
Perfect.
So sweeps all around this weekend.
Good way to end the season for them.
Yeah.
Women's soccer, Coach Hilly Arthur's group, great way to end the year for them as well. After a long season of a ton of very, very close losses, they end the year with two straight victories. They beat PLU here in a Friday afternoon game, 1-0, and then they beat Pacific here Saturday, 1-0 in double overtime. And further efforts on the weekend, not only did the team get the sweep and the two victories, Emily Sewell was named Northwest Conference Athlete of the Week on the women's soccer side. So great way to end the season for the Bearcats.
Yeah. On the men's side, the Bearcats played Linfield. I think they were a little upset about their loss last weekend. 4-0 win. They pretty much dominated Linfield for their last game, and then they were just waiting on Whitworth, and Whitworth won.
Yeah,
and
always tough when you got to wait for the scoreboard.
Yep. They'll finish the season 13-5-2, 10-2-2 in conference. They're second in the Northwest Conference. Finished 7th in the NCAA West Region poll. That's the best season they've had ever. So they tied a season win record with 13. That's tied with the 1991 team, and they set an NWC win record for Willamette with 10 conference wins.
Yeah,
so,
like you said, historically, probably the best year ever.
Yeah, best year ever, and they're losing some seniors, but Yazin will be back, and so I think we'll see some good things from them. Yeah,
and we got some roundups on their all-conference nominations later too.
We'll touch on that later.
On the football side of things, the Bearcats coming off a huge win against Linfield, had to take on the #1 team in the Northwest Conference for the second straight week, as Pacific was the #1 team after Linfield's loss. We were at Pacific, unfortunately fell 41-24. We did get an individual record set. Dylan Jones had 166 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground for the Cats, set the Willamette single-season rushing record. So he's at currently 1,376 yards on the year. That surpasses Drew Eklund's 2002 record of 1,240 yards on the ground. And he still has a game to play, as the Bearcats are 5-3, 3-3 in the Northwest Conference, but will wrap things up this coming weekend at home against UPS. So even more time to add to his ground game record. And I think Dylan also has a chance at the single-season touchdown record, which is even older, like the 1930s. I think he's 3 touchdowns away from that.
Yeah,
so
and he's a true student athlete, and if you follow social media or the website, Willamette just put out an article about him and his exploits on the track and the field and in the classroom.
Yeah, awesome.
He's a well-rounded student.
Great story.
Yeah.
On the women's basketball side of things, Coach Peg Swadner and the ladies had an interesting setup. It was an exhibition game for the Bearcats, but a counter game for Carroll College, an NAIA school from Montana. It was also the Bruce Henderson Memorial game, honoring late Coach Bruce Henderson, who was the leader of the Bearcats program up until his passing away on the floor. So the game, obviously, the Bearcats and the Saints were going at it, but it was also a special night. A number of alumni. Bruce's widow Nikki was here. Coaching colleagues from around the country were in attendance. The team room was officially named in Bruce's honor. And we're going to bring you later on the halftime speech given by one of Bruce's former players, Tracie Nygaard Brockey now. Tracie Nygaard Brockey
yes.
did a great job, talking about Coach Bruce at halftime. On the game side of things, the Saints came out with a victory, 79-57. It's always tough on the hoop side of things to play NAIA schools. Not only is it a scholarship difference, but they start practice September 1. They've played 4 or 5 games by the time we get to our opener. So the ladies gave a great effort, had a couple good runs in the first and second half to get the game back in a close situation. JoJo DeLong, senior point guard, led the Lady Bearcats with 15 points, 4 for 8 from the three-point line. Racine Parker, she was hurt all last year, getting her first game action, had 12 points, 5 of 6 off the bench. So some things to build on for the Bearcats going forward.
Yeah, and a lot of new faces on the court.
Yes.
A lot of new faces. Racine Parker, who was hurt last year, hasn't played. Mercer Hamilton, who focused on academics and track last year. She played a lot. So
and Kylie's back from injury. So
there's a lot of new faces.
Yep.
So I think they're going to have a pretty good year.
Absolutely.
Now for digging deeper. Today we're going to cover some of our Northwest Conference, all-conference selections. We're still waiting to hear back. Football will come next week, but we found out most of them so far. Cross-country we did last week.
Yep.
So first for volleyball, Sarah Fincher.
Obviously.
She's a second-team all-conference.
Yep. And well-deserved. Second in the league in 3.31 kills per set. 23rd overall with 285 total kills, 178 digs. And, I think even a more impressive stat might be she played in all 25 matches in 86 of 90 sets. So a lot of conditioning involved there. Some luck not getting injured, but also, that's a lot of that has to do with preseason workouts and her getting herself ready to play. So congrats to Sarah on a second-team nomination there. On the women's soccer side of things, Sarah Desautel was a first-team all-conference selection. 3 goals on the season, 49 shots, total 21 shots on goal. Did a great job battling through what was a tough year for the Bearcats, but like we said, a great ending to the season for them with 2 wins. And Sarah obviously very deserving of her first-team nomination.
And she was the one that scored the goal in overtime.
Oh, perfect.
So senior going out with a game-winning goal.
You'll remember that for a long time.
Yeah. On the men's side, quite a few of them.
This will be a list.
Yeah, a list. Starting off with Braden Calder, who's been multiple-time athlete of the week. He ended the season with 70 saves and 15 goals allowed. Kevin Martin, Yazin Hishma, 13 ended up with 13 goals, 50 shots, 23 shots on goal. Julian Hanlon Austin,
all first team.
All
guys.
first team.
That's
all
impressive.
First team. So 4 first team selections, 1 second team selection, Adam Lewis, and Coach Phobie was selected Northwest Conference Coach of the Year.
Absolutely, well deserved.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anytime you set a historic season the way they did, it's obviously a team effort. Coach Phobie obviously directs the group, but that many guys honored on one team speaks volumes for how good they were and how great the season was.
Right. And a lot of times you see Coach of the Year going to whoever wins.
Yeah.
But in soccer, the Whitworth was heavy favorites to win. And we scared them a little. We shook them up. We were close to knocking them off, and that's a well-deserved.
I think the coaches got it right on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Bruce Henderson was a 1984 Willamette University alumnus. He was an assistant for both the men's and women's basketball programs before finally becoming the head women's basketball coach. On December 8th, 2008, Bruce passed away doing what he loved doing, coaching basketball. This past Saturday, Willamette University dedicated the Bruce Henderson Memorial Team Room. Instead of an athlete spotlight this week, we're going to bring you Tracie Nygaard Brockey's speech from the halftime of the Bruce Henderson Memorial game. Tracie was a 2008 graduate of Willamette University and played under Bruce. The audio is a little bit scratchy, but I think it's well worth a listen.
Absolutely.
People walk into and out of our lives for various reasons, making impressions on us, teaching us lessons that help shape the people that we become. Coach Henderson walked into my life to teach me about the game of basketball, but he wound up serving a much greater purpose than just a coach. He was a mentor, he was a motivator, he was a listener. I could go into his office on a bad day and he could cheer me up with a joke or tell me the latest Willamette gossip. And most importantly of all, Coach Henderson walked into my life and became a friend. He was someone that you pictured at your wedding someday. He was someone that you looked forward to coming back to Willamette just so you could go up to his office and visit. He was someone that you wanted to call and share exciting life news with because you knew that he would be just as excited to hear it as you were to tell it. Here's an example of how much Coach Henderson cared about his players. I remember one of my teammates, Caitlin Andrews, she had a season-ending ACL injury her senior year. And Coach began concocting a plan for her senior night. He was going to start her in the game, and we had to get the tip off because Caitlin couldn't run back and play defense because of her injury. So we had to get the tip off, and he set up a play for her that was going to be a screen, and she was going to get a wide-open three-pointer, and she had to make it. And he knew without a shadow of a doubt that she was going to. And when the time came, she was right over here. She took the shot. I had a huge grin on my face. It dropped right through the net. And I just couldn't help but think how cool a moment that was for her to end her senior season on such a high note, for her teammates, for the fans, for her parents. But I also feel like it was a special moment for Bruce because when it came to his players, I felt like they were more than just his team. They were like a family. They were like his daughters. And that's not something you find in a job description for a coach. That's just the type of person Bruce was. I think all of us have really great memories and great stories to share about Coach, funny stories, some of them more appropriate to tell than others. And I know a lot of us have gone on and have started to coach teams of our own or are going to start coaching teams of our own. And maybe, again, we'll share some of those appropriate ones with them. But one that comes to mind is him talking about the importance of protecting the paint. And he would say, "This is our house, and that is your kitchen, and nobody lets a stranger come into their kitchen and make a sandwich." And there were some times where it took all our effort to try to keep a straight face during practice. But that's one of the reasons that I absolutely loved Bruce as a coach and as a person. That combined with his intense confidence, his swagger, his goofy newsboy caps that he would wear, his ability to call, I think at least once, everyone on the team a knucklehead, the fact that he would have this big goofy grin on his face just about all times except when you asked him to pose for a picture and he got really serious. All of those things is how I'm going to remember Bruce. And I want to thank Willamette, and I want to thank the donors who are helping to make this team room possible so that his legacy can continue to live on for players who come through the newly renovated Spark Center for years to come. And I want to also thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about Coach and let us all honor this amazing man in all of our lives. So thank you for the opportunity. At this point, I'd like to call up Nikki Benny Henderson. We are presenting Nikki with a replica plaque of what's going to hang in the team room. And it says, "The Henderson Team Room is named in memory of Bruce Henderson, Willamette University basketball coach, and was made possible by the generosity of his family and friends." Would everyone please join me in standing in applause to celebrate Bruce and his legacy at Willamette?
All right, looking ahead to this week, it's another mesh week as we've got some fall sports with some big final tune-up, final events happening, and some winter sports jumping into their season. Men's and women's swimming, Puget Sound PLU weekend, Friday 6 p.m. versus the Loggers. PLU is Saturday at 1 p.m., so get out and see Coach Sevlin's swimmers in the pool. Cross country, huge. NCAA West Region Championships at Busch Park, Saturday. The men, the start time for the race is 10 a.m. Women is 11 a.m. and both teams should be looking to finish fairly high in that.
The men are hoping they're ranked second, and they're hoping to keep that second. Top two teams get an automatic bid, and then there's another 16 at-large bids over the country. Sometimes the West gets 2, sometimes they get none.
Gotcha.
So it's going to depend on the performances this weekend.
Good luck to all the runners out there this week, and hopefully hope for some good weather, some running weather that favors the Bearcats. Football wraps up the season at home, and they've been on the road for what seems like a long time. Puget Sound is here Saturday, 2 p.m. for the senior game. Good luck to Coach Fowles and the guys to finish up the season. They got a chance to get 6-3 and 4-3 in the NWC, so hopefully that goes their way. And finally, us, the men's basketball team, my guys, we open the season Sunday. Kind of a strange opening to be on a Sunday, but 7 p.m. right here, Cone Fieldhouse, Gordy James Court, against a team all the way from Texas, Schreiner University. We'll take them on here at Sunday, and then we're actually at Portland State, our final exhibition game. The Schreiner game's our first counter. The Portland State game's a counter for them, exhibition for us. Tuesday, 7 p.m. up in Portland. We get to strap it up and take on the big boys, so to speak. And they are big.
Yeah.
So a big action-packed weekend. Again, Coach Schwadner and the ladies are up in Portland for the Bon Appetit Classic, and I think they have Schreiner Friday as well.
No, they have Montclair on Saturday and
Montclair
Schreiner on Sunday.
So we're both taking on them. So good luck to everyone involved, and go Bearcats.
Yeah. Wrap things up. Thanks for joining us. Check us out on social media. bat.ly/woosocial. Watch our live stream events, bat.ly/Bearcat Network. And until next week, have a good one.
Absolutely. See you guys.